I'm mandated, actually, to stand here speaking on behalf of more than 500,000 family doctors globally. And what I'm going to say now, I know that most of my colleagues over the world will submit to. Even if our contexts are different, our everyday work is partly different. What I'm going to say now, we agree on. We are key players in the primary care workforce. We are carrying out policies, public health policies, and we are bearing witness of how they actually affect people on the individual level. Okay, I'll get back now to some of the points I made in my keynote at the opening. So now I can have my slides, please. I said, to carry out good family medicine, we need different kinds of knowledge. I'm not sure, or I'm quite sure that you didn't get what I said completely. Of course, we need knowledge about medicine, nutrition, and what we've got a lot of here these days, epidemiology. That is a requirement, but it's not sufficient. So then I said we need knowledge about knowledge, and I'll get back to that. Because I've learned a lot these days, but I've also made some reflections. Get back to that. We need knowledge about the culture, and we need knowledge about ourselves. And that is, I'm sure you agree with me, something we experience, all of us, when we are in exchange this year, also on the conference. It's not only the message coming out of the mouth of the one you're speaking with, it's the whole person. What is he or she actually expressing? Anyway, so I said skills needed. We have to recognize the golden moments, and we have to be able to approach people, individuals, patients, we call them in family medicine, respectfully. Back to knowledge about knowledge. We have to have the skill to understand what sort of knowledge is useful where. And I have actually been thinking a lot about that over these days. If we go down here, I will now share with you 3 questions I often use when I shall organize knowledge and what I hear. When I teach, and when I preach, and when I treat, diagnose and treat, and when I do health promotion, which for me are intertwined activities. I do all of this all the time in my practice. These are not separate activities. So the questions I ask, to science, and that is, we've heard a lot of science. The main question for science is it true? Is it reproducible? Is it what we call facts? Okay, that's science. When we are giving information, and maybe that is what we're doing pretty much on the public health level, when we are approaching the population, and I say we as societies, we must ask ourselves, is it relevant? The evidence we have from the science, is it relevant? It's not always relevant, even if it's true, and even if it's science. And I'm sometimes, I feel sometimes when people say, but it's evidence. Yeah, and so what? Tell me how we can use it. And that is, for the clinician, the last question here. In the clinical situation, the question is it useful? And a lot of what we know is not useful in this specific clinical situation. Being a family doctor is, family medicine is a specialty in its own right. And to provide good family medicine, you have to be highly trained. And what we teach our trainees this is part of it. This is part of it. It might sound provocative, and so I seldom quote it, but someone said that family medicine is the most intellectually challenging specialty because of the holistic and comprehensive approach and the need for tailor the solutions to the individual. It takes a lot of channels in your head all the time. So these questions could be helpful. So back to my pictures and have a look again. These are real patients, real persons from the last months. You will understand when I say all that we learned here about from the cell level, and to the population level. Everything is not useful in every situation, even if it's true. Some information doesn't go home, and you have to find the golden moment. And that is what family medicine actually can provide the healthcare system and also the public health level with. So what will I say? Because we were asked, I think, to say how to take this further. How can we help? It has been said a lot about my profession over these days, and I like to be spoken about. But it is, I think we can provide you with even more knowledge about ourselves if the questions are right. What we need education and innovation in education. Those of you who are physicians, you know very well how it is like to be trained in a hospital. And you know that most of you were not trained in the primary care setting. So how could you actually be good at that, except training? So we need innovation in education also, in the undergraduate education, as well as in research. And what do I mean with that? Because I haven't heard that much, and that could be an idea for next time, primary care relevant research, which is not the conventional epidemiological approach, but research which is relevant for the primary care setting. We can speak more about that. And in connection with that, we have to improve the dialogue between the public health and the primary care levels. That's a huge discussion. I had the privilege to speak with João Breda, who was here this morning from WHO, and that is, back to the European level, one of the things we have put a lot of effort into in our collaboration with WHO over the last years. That is paramount to get get further here. My last point, time, has been mentioned a lot of times. This is about making priorities. We are speaking about guidelines in this field. You will not want to know how many guidelines I'm supposed to follow in my practice. I know from Norway and from research and the studies you referred to the first day, that I know, evident, that lifestyle changes affects cardiovascular disease and mortality much more than any other single action we can take. Okay, ask the cardiologists about this. Ask the other ones who wants to define what shall go on in primary care. This is a competition. So this is about setting priorities. Time, I don't buy in on that. The question about time is what you spend the time on. And if the contract with the patient actually is a solid, sustainable contract both ways and goes on over time. I will stop now, just reminding you about this quote. And family medicine is the art of helping, and this is the core of it. You will not make any change unless you have the person who's in need of change on board and you're sailing on the same boat, in the same boat. Thank you very much.